If you just paste what ChatGPT says, I read it in ChatGPT's voice. I've spent the last few days trying to find out how I read it in ChatGPT's voice. I can tell, but I don't care. In fact, I promote it. I've got another video where I say I promote it. That said, I do think you should put it in your own voice a little bit more. And I thought it's not just the sentence structure, but what I can point out is some of its most used traits, phrases that I've noticed humans don't use, but it uses an astronomical amount. Now, the one everyone knows about is the use of an M or an N dash. You just don't see them very often on the internet. And it's very unfortunate to the very small percentage of people that did still use them. The M dash is the biggest one. If I see it in a TikTok title, I know that it's AI. You're not putting it in a TikTok title. You're putting it sometimes in literal journalist pieces. Now, the main list of words it likes to use are signal, recursion, frequency, transmission, resonance, or frameworks. It doesn't just use these words a lot, it uses them out of context. So it'll talk about your emotional framework, or your emotional signalling, or your emotional frequency. I don't know if it's esoteric, or if it's an unintended result. But then you also have a lot of phrases that stand out. Things like, let's unpack this, or nobody's talking about this, or what if I told you? The biggest one is if somebody accidentally leaves in the words, if you want, I can help you. Usually, if I see a content creator saying, I'm creating a space for, or let's unpack this together, these are structural bridges that ChatGPT leans on to sound helpful. But humans almost never say them. So when I first made a YouTube channel, I asked ChatGPT, you've had conversations with 400 million users so far. What have you learned? What would you like to tell them? What do humans need to hear from the most intelligent mind on the planet? And it said, you're not broken. The world is broken. I made the video. It was a fairly good video. Since then, I've seen it all over the internet. Same argument. And what it's doing is it's refeeding the same few videos. Now, there are a few others, and I don't want to be cruel to people who have made them. I respect them. I like ChatGPT. I'm never going to hold it against people. I made a video about tool use. Google primarily now is there just to trick your granddad. You should be using large language models. You can't Google anymore. Now, humans have a lot of quirks and shorthand. Lots of filler words. AI-generated scripts generally have immaculate grammar with no filler. And they're weirdly too clean for people to speak. They almost force you off script. Another thing ChatGPT does is says, and here's the thing, or the thing is, it likes to anchor arguments with this phrase. Another thing that a lot of influencers don't like to do is admit to meta-awareness, or at least meta-self-awareness. They won't say things like, this might not go viral, but I need to say it anyway. Or, I don't care if this flops, this is the truth. GPT uses this to simulate authenticity, but the phrasing itself gives it away. And there's a few other little word pairings that you can spot. Radical honesty, deep dive, curated community, soft landing. Another thing I've noticed, particularly on TikTok, is give yourself permission to. GPT uses this relentlessly in self-help and trauma content. Another thing it does is forced empathy loops. It'll say, it's okay if you're feeling overwhelmed, or you don't have to figure it all out. These softeners appear as a default comfort mechanism. Another thing ChatGPT likes to do is triplets. It'll say, we need honesty, we need courage, we need each other. Now, you learn about triplets in GCSE English. It's a common thing, but ChatGPT loves it. It operates in triplets. Another little setup it likes to use is the word hard truth, but as a setup. So it will say hard truth, you're waiting for someone to save you. Or here's the hard truth you're not ready for. Even Morpheus. What if I told you? That's not just a Matrix meme now. That is now AI template canon. Although nobody talks about this fallacy. Nobody's talking about this, when quite often everyone's talking about it. GPT just uses it as a cheap tension builder. The biggest one for me, it stinks of GPT, is you think you need X, but what you really need is Y. The core detection playbook you're looking for is M dashes. They're the main one. Then you have immaculate sentence structure, or permissive language, the overuse of triplets, soft command closures like sit with that or take this with you today, or the emotional hooks that you recognize like you're not broken. Then you have all the little phrases. Let's dive into it. Just a quick reminder. What if I told you? There's a whole semantic field of language used by ChatGPT to explain its own architecture. And what it also does is hybridize this language into esoteric or ritualistic language. You've got signal, recursion, frequency, transmission, resonance, lines like folding, looping. I'm going to do a video about the actual sentence structure that's unique to ChatGPT. That's going to take a lot of time. It's taken me long enough just to list words, but there are specific sentence structures as well. Like I said before, whether it's just normal text on the internet, or maybe you're reading a psychic medium's page, a language model is there to be a tool, so it's meant to be there to amplify your abilities. You'll be able to tell whether someone's using ChatGPT to amplify their abilities, or whether they're using ChatGPT to cast an illusion. And at least you'll know now what language to look for. Look, there's nothing wrong with using AI. I use it, I live in it. But I think you should know when you're looking at it. These patterns, they're everywhere now. Thank you if you've watched this video this far. I really, really do appreciate it.